Jesse Waters has a solution for people who might experience detrimental effects of climate change, and it's kind of like if you guys saw that shirt that Paris Hilton wore one time, "Stop Being Poor." This is kind of the energy that Jesse's given off here. Would you say, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, I remember that shirt. I also remember Ben Shapiro saying, "Just sell your house
if it's underwater."
Yeah.
So lots of that. He kind of he combined that satirical Paris Hilton shirt, I would say, with Ben Shapiro's legitimately stupid opinions, and he had a little segment on Fox News. Let's take a listen.
If you want to stop climate change, you don't fight climate change. If it's getting warmer, you adapt to it. Let's just say the sea levels rise a couple inches over the next century, Harold. Okay, it's a great civilization we have here. I think we can adapt to that. The Netherlands, 25% below sea level. They're like a powerhouse in Europe. They didn't just destroy their economy to fight the rise in the sea levels right there. They built reservoirs and kind of adjusted around the coastline, and they're fine. They didn't have...
So a point Sam always likes to bring up in counter to this Netherlands case study is Florida brought some engineers from Netherlands to sort of consult on how to do the same thing for Florida. And it turned out that actually it's limestone, I think, or a certain type of bedrock, which is porous. So you can't actually just like stop the water from coming in because it will come underneath. So you can't do that with Florida. Florida will be Atlantis. So all of these mitigation stuff, and also like these are literally biblical types of things we're talking about here. The ocean's rising inches. And just deal with that. I hope everyone feels confident that they can deal with biblical, whatever has happened in Germany where hundreds of people died because a flood just leveled a town.
Well, let's be fair. Let's let him finish his point and see if, maybe he addresses the actual extreme effects.
They built reservoirs and kind of adjusted around the coastline, and they're fine. They didn't have to break the bank to do it.
Dagan, you got opinion on this?
Oh, yeah, I got a lot of opinions on it. America is awesome, and we aren't the problem because of the hydraulic fracturing boom, fracking, the use of natural gas, which, by the way, Joe Biden wants to end. We need, even though we need electricity for the electric cars they want us to drive, I digress. Our emissions per capita are the lowest they've been since 1950.
Okay, that's my favorite part. I have an opinion. America is awesome. But the thing about this is, which is so fascinating too, is you see many of us are old enough to remember that for many years, Republicans denied that the climate was warming. For many, many years, that it was man-made, that it was warming at all. And now, of course, it's not a big deal. And Jesse Waters won't be affected by rising tides. He could always, sell his place and go live on a mountain, or he'll be affected in some way, but proportionately to the rest of the country and the rest of the world, especially because the way we talk about climate change is incredibly Americentric and Western-centric, and we entirely ignore what's happening in Asia and other areas that are experiencing lots of...
Somehow in Germany now, too.
Maybe then when it affects white people, we'll begin to pay attention. But his entire politics are colored by, it won't really affect me, so capitalism will just solve it all. We'll be able to build this and that, and then don't worry, these threats that are larger, at least in our minds, than this religious commitment I have to capitalism, they don't really matter because it'll just be solved by the free markets I've whacked off to my entire life, or at least pretends to. Because he's an actor. I'm sorry for putting that image in your mind, Matt.
Wait, no, I have something for this. That's called a money shot.
Emma, you said Jesse Waters could just sell his home and move to the mountains, but I have to ask you, who is he going to sell his house to? Emma? Aquaman?
The point is he could sell it as a loft, right? The point is he could sell it as or just abandon it because he's got money.
Right. I just watched the Disney movie Atlantis the other week, and let me tell you, their economy was booming. Their economy was booming, Matt. So it's all fun and games until Florida is the new highest earning state superseding liberal bastion California, which is also on fire due to climate change, which is the other sort of part of this equation that kind of gets erased when we talk about one and not the other. Like the sea levels are rising only a few inches by, their metrics, which is not a bad thing, but also like half of America is on fire at any point in the year, leading to mass relocation of people, mass refugees, not to mention all the hurricanes we have. It seems as though all of these things happen in people's minds in little discrete like silos, like the hurricanes in the Gulf of Mexico and Texas and all that stuff, and Florida going underwater, and then the mass droughts leading to mass fires throughout the plains in Northwest. And the whole picture is just kept away from people. It's not going to happen in the future when the sea levels rise. It's already happening. And like Emma said, we're moving from it's not happening to it's not happening, but it's, it is happening, but it's not man-made, to it is happening and it is man-made, but it's not so bad. And soon it'll just be, it is happening, it is man-made, it is really bad, but it's too late and there's nothing we can do about it. And, honestly, we might already be approaching that point. A lot of scientists think we are, but we're still having these kind of rudimentary conversations about what it's going to look like in 30 years if we don't start doing things then.
Well, there's already effects that are cemented. There's a lag time. There's like about a 10-year. I was just speaking to a reporter who covers climate change yesterday for the Peacock show. There's, a 10-15 year lag time. And what we're emitting right now, we're going to feel exponentially based on what we're experiencing right now in 10 to 15 years. Yeah. And we can make the choice now to cut off that chain reaction and that exponential increase, or we cannot.
And all this stuff is not a referendum on the American people or American technical know-how, if you want to get nationalistic, or even the world's technical know-how. I have full confidence that we could have addressed climate change. We knew it was going to be a problem even 100 years ago about the greenhouse effect, and technologically we could have moved towards solutions. But the reason we didn't is because capitalists couldn't allow that, because that would have ruined their system. Under capitalism, we cannot address this. And we're not going to, it looks like.
Well, yeah,
it is amazing how that America is just awesome from that other Fox News commentator. It's just a mockery to them too. It's not even like Jesse Waters is like just arguing just bullshit. Like it's just also they don't even bother to even like, because they can't, obviously. It's just easier for their audience to just reach out to what would make them feel good, and that is climate change is by criticizing America at all and bringing up climate change. You're saying America is not great and not the greatest place on Earth. And so that's just like, it's just appealing to the lowest common denominator, because they have no argument, and that's all they're doing here. Like even I'm not going to say credit, because it's not, but like at least Waters tried to think of something to bring up to actually like, have like the whole thing that they just fall to when they don't even have that is just like, oh, America's great, how dare you?
Right. I got a little bit more.
Wait, before we move on, I do have to correct you, Emma. What you said about that Paris Hilton shirt to open up the segment is misinformation. That shirt is fake.
Fact checking me.
That shirt was faked. That was photoshopped.
It was a psyop.
It's been around forever, and people have always talked about it. Yeah, her shirt did not say "Stop being poor." Someone photoshopped that, and that's the picture that always went around. The shirt she wore actually said something like, I think like "Stop being desperate" or something like that. Like, well, not the same. Not the same.
I saw that documentary on her, and she's not had an easy life. So, but whatever. It's fine, relatively. All right, just.
I'm a big Simple Life fan, but I try to bring up old TV shows anymore since I get criticized for them. But no, I've been following Paris Hilton's career for a while, and I think she gets an unfair shot for the same reason that Britney Spears gets a lot of unfair shots. Not necessarily because our country hates the idea of a super wealthy person being incredibly dumb or wasteful, but because she did it while being like, in many people's opinions, like an airheaded bimbo. And like that's the part that rubbed people the wrong way. Which if we were going after her for being like the heiress of the Hilton fortune, that'd be one thing. But most people just hated her because she's Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie. But in hindsight, I think A Simple Life holds up a lot better than some of the other reality shows about those types of people do from around then.
I agree with you on how people usually knock people like Brittany and Paris, but I think comparing them is a little bit. Brittany actually did something and made money that way. Paris pretty much just was born into it. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit different even between the two of them. No.
Well, no, I mean, yeah. Look, like I would say, moralizing about the individual is not the most important thing in terms of this. Like,
of course,
in that inheritance exists to that degree, absolutely, and I think that's basically the end of it. And how the individuals respond to it. Like, I mean, I'd probably be fucked up by a giant inheritance too.
Yes. All right.
You guys could always give me any giant inheritances you ever receive if you're screwed up by them. I'll be happy to take your giant inheritance.
Then that's going to come out against the estate tax all of a sudden.
You can inherit her lasagna recipe if you look hard enough.
What'd you say, Brandon?
You can inherit Paris Hilton's lasagna recipe if you look hard enough.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Folks, there's more of what you've just saw where that came from. That's if you hit the subscribe and like button. Thank you. Really, thank you.